Hey, hello everybody. My name is Ray and I am known as the Wired Idiot here on YouTube. And today I'd like to do something a little bit different, all right? Because let's face it, all you beginners, you've been working real hard. You've been learning your open chords, working on that guitar foundation that we need to build, right? In order to basically elevate our guitar skills, okay? We talked about that before, the left hand, the right hand, and we've been working hard, transitioning from one open chord to another, and that can sometimes be frustrating, it can be boring, it can be tedious, but unfortunately it has to be done so we can build that all-important guitar foundation. So today I thought, well, let's kind of take a peek into what we can do, or what we can also do with some of those open chords. I'm going to show you a couple of chords today that, well, I guess they're called movable chords. Basically, it just means that we can take the open chord that we're playing and move it as is up the neck for different results, for different chord sounds, right? And it's something that, well, it's definitely not necessary, but it's something, to know about, because one day it'll come in handy and one day you'll be thankful that you took some time to sort of explore this option. All right, so let me tell you what I'm talking about. So we're going to look at the chords C and D. All right, so let's take our C fingering, C major chord. All right, now in music theory, guitar theory, if we go up a whole step, 2 frets, then our C should become a D, right? So we have a C, we move up 2 frets, we have a D. Now it's not a true D major, but it is a D. And furthermore, we have the root note of D right here on our ring finger, and we have our root note of D here on our pointer finger. So that's about as close to being a full D major as you're going to get. It's a good sounding chord, and well, yes, it could replace a D major, but I would use it when you're kind of looking for something a little bit different. So for example, if say you're playing a chord progression, G, C, D, right? G, C, and slide over for your D. G, C, D, G, C, D. Okay? Now, when I first stumbled upon this chord, I was trying to learn a song by REM. And the song started out, when I looked at the chords, C and D. But it didn't quite sound right to me, although it sounded fine. And a lot of people play it that way. But then I discovered that maybe the song was written like this. Pop the hoople and the game of life. Yeah, 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 yeah. Right? So instead of going to the full D major, when I slid up, it kind of sounded a little more natural to me. So that's how I first stumbled upon it. Also, in this position here, there's some pretty good individual note picking to be had when you're ready for that, okay? I'm not saying to start doing that now, because as beginners, we're focused on getting our open chords sounding right. But for those of you that are already there, maybe kind of fancy yourself as an intermediate guitar player, then for sure, take a look at some of the tones we get from that D chord in that position. Now, can we go any further with this? Well, let's take a look. Let's go up another 2. Now we have an E, right? So we have both the E here, note, as a root, and we also have one right here, okay? So we have, again, we have two E root notes in this E chord. Just as we had two D notes here, and we got two there, right? And to me, and then if you throw in the high E, or the low E, or the high E, sorry, this little guy here, hey, that's good enough for me to be an E chord. So now we've got C, D, E, that we can add a whole other texture to things with, all right? And not to mention, there's probably some pretty good picking down here too. Right? So that was like playing right? Hey, we could be opening up a whole new world here. So those are some things that we can do with the C chord, right? So we just moved it up 2 to D, move it up 2 and it becomes an E, and we can add flavor and some different textures to our playing. We could go to those chords instead of the open chords as a replacement. There's a lot of things that we can do there, all right? Now, what we're doing right now using movable chords, it's not to be confused with something called the caged system. Similar in that the concept is that you can play different chord shapes. There's what they call the major chord shapes, C, A, G, E, D, spells caged, and we can play our chords using a C shape all the way up the neck. We could play using an A shape all the way up the neck, but it is different than what I've just showed you, okay? It does require, you need some fretboard knowledge, you need some good finger dexterity, you really need to know your bar chord fingering as well. But it is something that, again, once you build that foundation of guitar, then this is just another technique that you can add to your repertoire on top of that foundation to make you, well, a better guitar player, a more rounded guitar player, okay? But like I've said all along, you don't need to know that to be a good, solid guitar player, all right? So let's carry on, and let's look at another open chord that we can move up the neck and do different things with, and that would be your D major, okay? So here's your D major. We know how to finger that by now, and we're going to use the same philosophy here in that we move it up 2, right? So now that's going to become an E. I'm only going to play 4 strings, 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? Now, if I go up one more, because if I go 2, there's no sharp after E, so I go one more, right? Now I'm at an F, right? C, D, E, F. And if I jump up 2 more, that's a G. There's a G major. There's a G up the neck, right? G, G. Can we go? Can we push this envelope a little further with this D? Let's go up 2 more. Now that's an A, okay? I don't expect you to know this, but I happen to know that there's an A right here as well. There's an A. And then we have our A here, okay? So we can simply slide this all the way up and take an A here, back to our D, to our A major, to our D, to our A up the neck, to our D. Okay? So now we have some versatility to make things sound a little funkier, all right? Can we go even further than A? Well, let's see. So we go up 2 more. Oh, G, A. Now we have a B. right? So here's our B at the root, right here, okay? Got the double dots on the B string is a B, okay? Now the fingering gets a little tricky because up here, the frets are a little closer together. So you've got to, as you slide up, you have to adjust your fingering accordingly so that everything fits in nicely. How can we take advantage of this? Well, there's, again, plenty of ways, because now we have options to play different major chords in a different way. So we could just, as we did before, as the chord progression comes around to D, now if I want to play that G, I've got that option, okay? I could go G, D, I could go G, D, right? Sometimes it's just nice to use it once at the beginning of a song. We could do sort of like a chord walk down kind of thing, right? So we could do something like right? As a lead in to our song. Just do it the one time. Or it could be something we do after every verse. So we play a verse, gives us all kinds of possibilities to sort of flare things up a little bit, all right? So those are just two examples of what we would call movable chords, all right, which would allow us to play them up the neck, as long as we follow the guitar theory protocol. So every time we go up 2 frets, we go up a key. 1 fret between the E, right, and the F, and the B and the C, right? So in other words, when we were up here on our B, if we only go 1 more, then we actually have a C, right? There's a C, there's a C. Of course, it's higher, but it's a C. All right? So I hope that sort of, well, I hope you can kind of figure out something to do with that. I hope it comes across as what it was meant to be, just a cool little thing that we can do with these couple of chords. So we'll carry on this. In the next video, we'll look at a couple other chords that we could play up the neck, all right? And we'll see how they sound. Some sound better than others. Some we can go further up than others. So watch for the next video when we'll take a look at playing the F all the way up the neck. And maybe we'll explore the A all the way up the neck, all right? All right, see you next time. Happy practicing, right? Don't get frustrated. You're almost there. See you later.